Hey guys! So today's video is one of the most requested videos. I know that some of you are probably getting sick of hearing about dyeing hair for Rainbow High dolls. So this is probably going to be my last video for a while on that. I've walked you through how to dye. I've walked you through a couple of different techniques for dyeing. A lot of you have sent me really cool pictures of the dolls that you've been super creative with. And then a lot of you have said, I don't have access to RIT dye. It doesn't exist in my country, or it's very, very expensive. So I got asked a lot, can you dye Rainbow High hair with regular hair dye? Like regular old, everyday, plain, cheap, easy to find hair dye. Now here's the thing. Normally I go to Sally's when I do my own hair and I buy a bunch of really expensive stuff, and you know, like I have this bowl and this brush and like all these other things that some people may not have. I will say not everybody has a Sally's, but you can use any bowl as long as it's plastic. Don't use like a metal bowl, but plastic or glass or porcelain is fine. So you want your mixing bowl. And I got this little brush like from Sally's, but I think that you can probably find them in other places. If not, you can just use your hands, hence the gloves. I do recommend gloves because hair dye obviously stains. The other thing is, not a lot of people have a ton of money to just go and buy a billion different hair dyes in hopes that they might work. So I have seen people on Instagram, such as Shrimp on the Barbie and some other people who used, like I said, the human hair dye. They were very, very successful. They use different brands because I think that they're from Australia, and like I didn't recognize any of the brands they used. But for this experiment, we're going to use just very cheap $3 Walmart hair dye in the color dark golden brown, because my hair is half brown and half blonde, and we're going to make this Cheer Sunny look like me. Now I've already sectioned off this chunk of hair. I don't want to risk getting dye in. The best I can. I haven't sectioned her bangs out yet. Like I said, you definitely want to have gloves because staining is really gross, but that's not the only thing you want to have. So my husband and I and my children just remodeled our bathroom. We put down the subflooring, we put down the top flooring, we did all the painting, like everything ourselves, bought a bunch of new stuff for it. I'm not trying to make a mess. So what I did was I laid down an old towel, which I'll show you in a minute, and then a layer of tinfoil, which I've seen a lot of people doing when they're putting dye on doll hair. One of the things I want to say is a lot of human hair dye even tells you, like, don't use metallic bowls. It doesn't do well in contact with metals. So on top of that tinfoil, I took some parchment paper that you use to like cook on, and I laid that on top of the tinfoil. So the tinfoil is mostly just a thick barrier to keep the dye from like going through the towel into the floor or whatever. So it might even be necessary, like the paper might be enough, but I just didn't want to risk it with as expensive as this bathroom remodel was. Okay guys, first things first, I open the box, take everything out. This is like a conditioner for afterwards. It's really only helpful probably with human hair. It might work on doll hair, but we're just going to set it aside. Then we have our two main components. We have instructions. I'm not really going to bother with them because I dye hair a lot. Alright guys, so we've mixed our colorant and our developer into the bowl. We're going to stir this up really good, and we're going to take a minute to wet the half of Sunny's hair that we're going to do, because A, we need to get some of the gel out, and B, someone told me that like having it wet helped the dye, I guess, like do better. So we're going to see if that's right. Okay guys, so Joshua Matthews on Instagram gave me some really great tips. He mentioned that he uses, like, he gets the hair slightly damp, not soaking, and then he puts the dye in, leaves it, and occasionally reapplies it over a 2-hour period. Most dyes won't stay active once you've got them mixed for that long. But I did put some tinfoil and paper over her face because we're going to be doing part of her bangs, and I don't know yet if human hair dye stains. So I'm going to put this on and then rejoin you guys. Okay guys, so I've got the dye on. I've done my dead level best to make sure it was mixed in really good. The back is like the last part I did, so it's not as brown as the front, but you can see it's starting to turn. So one of the things I'll say is make sure you lift her up, separate the hair really good, dye in between it and behind it. Also, keep some wet wipes on hand just in case you do get it on her body or face. You can wipe it off really quickly before it has time to stain. And I'm gonna let this finish up and then I'll be right back. Okay guys, so you've seen Sunny's hair after probably the 5-minute mark. At this point, we're about the 30-minute mark. And honestly, this color, this kind of caramelly light chocolate color, is so cute. It's really hard for me not to want to wash it out. Okay, so it's been 3 hours. It is finally dark brown. I went to lunch with my husband, ran some errands, came back. I think this is as good as it's gonna get, so I'm gonna wash it out and see if it stays. Hey guys, so this is my 5th time trying to record this one video. This week has not worked out for me at all. Every time I'm supposed to have free time, something happens and I don't have free time. In all of this, you guys have asked me quite a bit, does human hair dye work? Hi, sausage. He has to be in the middle of everything, you guys. But yeah. So on top of does human hair dye work, I got a lot of the questions of does inexpensive drugstore, Walmart, grocery store brands kind of hair dye work? So I used the cheapest possible, I think it's Revlon, and it's $3 a box. Okay, the cheapest possible human hair dye. I dyed Cheer Sunny's hair. I got asked by Jay in Wonderland, so it's JAYY_in_Wonderland on Instagram, if I would dye a doll's hair, split hair like my own. So that's what I did. So I took Cheer Sunny because her hair is already nicely parted, and I did dye her. I will say, all right, first and foremost, when you're dyeing, the dye does tend to leach towards the other hair. So you kind of want to almost stop it before you get to that part line so that it doesn't leach over into the other side. You can't tell a whole lot, but that did happen kind of in the back, which is why I have her hair in a ponytail, because it did it all the way up, just a bit, but you can't bleach their hair to take it out. I did try human hair bleach. I didn't record that part. Just because I didn't know it was gonna make her hair fall out or what, but I did try it. It didn't do anything. I even tried fabric bleach. Since this is nylon, I tried fabric bleach on that little hot spot to see if it would take any of it out. It didn't. So bleaches don't work. Don't even bother with them. They're not gonna do anything. It didn't make her hair fall out. I mean, if I'd left it on there an hour, maybe it would have. I don't know. But yeah, basically it really didn't have any effect because this is still a plasticky material versus keratin based human hair. But I will say the dye worked. Now, as you'll see in the video, I used a very, very dark brown dye. So it didn't really get that dark. It actually came out this really pretty soft chocolate color. So because of the leaching, it did leach over onto the blonde side of her bangs as well, even though I had them pretty decently separated. So I removed her bangs, but that's okay. That way she looks different than my other Cheer Sunny. I also removed her cheek markings and reblushed her, so that's a thing. And then she has I don't know if you guys can see it, but her eyeshadow is a little smudged. It came that way in the box, so she's not perfect. If I end up selling her, it probably won't be for more than retail or whatever, because while she is pretty cool looking, there are those small defects. But if you're interested in her, you can check out my Instagram because she'll probably be listed sometime this week. But the dye did work. That's the point. Now, if you watch the video, now I actually shampooed it out because I didn't want to risk it staining the doll or any of it being left in her hair. But I do mention that Joshua Matthews on Instagram had told me the way he did it. He gave me some really great tips, and one of the things he said was, much like with human hair dye, he didn't shampoo it. He just rinsed it until the water ran clear, just like you would do with human hair. I actually shampooed it just because I was kind of nervous, because it was so dark that if there was any left in her hair that it might stain her. But this is the color it was coming out even before I shampooed it. So the shampoo didn't really remove any of the color once it was set. But it was supposed to be a dark chocolate brown, and it is chocolatey, but it's not really dark. I left it in there for hours and hours. First video you'll see, I left it in there after about 5 minutes. You could tell it was starting to turn color. And then after about 20 minutes, like it looked almost like this, maybe a little lighter. You could tell it was doing stuff. And then my husband came home early. We got to go have lunch, which is always like a super big treat. I'm always super excited to see him. And during the wintertime, his hours are shorter. So like he just got home now, which is why I've been in such a rush to record. But you'll see that, like, so I was gone probably like 2-3 hours, and when I came back, like, the dye on the paper looked way super dark. It was not. Like, when I rinsed it out, like, it is brown, but it's like a really pretty, like, light to medium brown. It is not crazy dark. It also didn't take any of the crimp out of her hair, really. Like, yeah, I mean, it took enough of the gel out so her ends aren't crispy, but like she still has crimp left. So as you can see, she's still super, super cute. The half and half dye did work. It did leach a little bit towards the other side. So again, if you're using human hair dye, I would stop it a little short of where you want to go, because it is going to kind of leach up just a little bit. And just this way, you know, it doesn't like ruin if you have like a half and half dye. I don't know if stuff like Manic Panic and stuff works. I do have some in my bathroom. If I get another doll this week, which I think we all know I'm probably going to, we will try that out and see. Do the more like vegan dyes work? Because I used Manic Panic once before on Jade, but like I only left it in for like 5 or 6 minutes, and like it really didn't do anything. So there is a chance that it just needs to be left in longer, like I did with this. But I guess we will find out. However, my next video, which hopefully I will have time to film tomorrow, I'm going to get up super early and try to do it, is going to be answering all of your guys' questions about what my favorite dolls are in each line, what my life is like as a doll collector, etc., etc. So hopefully I'll see you guys again soon. Thanks for joining me.